Gamers of Reddit, what is a game that has a special meaning to you because what was going on in your life when you played it or who you played it with? Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. Used to play it all time with a friend of mine. He started an engineering degree, and then got a girlfriend, and now I don't know where he is. Can't play the games without thinking about him. Hope he's doing well. Reach out. I've tried through the few methods I have left. Different emails, Steam, Xbox, his brother that I still set from time to time. I haven't changed any of my contact information since then. Just don't think he wants to be in touch. We all have those old friends. Oh wow, I completely forget about L4D. I remember I was like 11 when that game came out and I begged my parents to get it for me. I didn't like zombie movies or games, they scared the crap out of me, but my parents loved them, so it was my way of trying to get closer. They caved into my constant begging, and then when we got home they thought I'd go in my room and play the game, but instead I unhooked my console and hooked it up in the living room when my parents were cooking and feeding the dogs. We ate, then I rushed to the living room TV and started up my Xbox. My parents both looked at me and said, "What do you think you're doing?" I said, "I'm about to play this game and you're going to watch." They both scowled and said, "I don't think so." I explained that was too scared to play it by myself and that I needed some moral support. They told me pack it up, then I started tearing up while I was unhooking the console. My mom told me stop and hook it back up so she could watch me play. I wiped my tears away, so relieved. They watched me play and die consistently on the airport storyline. Dad brought a couple beers and a magazine, Mom started reading her book, but every time I died or looked back to check if they were still watching, they were. My mom passed away a couple years ago, so it's nice remembering this little moment we had together. Ratchet and Clank series. When my wife and I started dating, we replayed a few of the first, taking turns back and forth. It was a blast, and we continued the process with each new one as they came out. Me too. I used to play it with my brother and a friend of ours. We didn't see him often, so playing on the PlayStation 3 with my brother and him was something special. I remember my brother was that mayor, my friend the evil dude, and I Ratchet. Once I clicked random buttons and it turns out it was a cheat code for level up. LOL. Morrowind. Spent 2 years playing that game in one solid summer when we moved to the south from the northeast UK. I lived in Tamriel that summer and I loved it. Never have or will play anything like that again. Tamriel is one of my all-time favorite fantasy worlds ever. Skyrim was the first game I truly fell in love with. Went back and played Oblivion afterwards and loved it almost as much. I haven't yet played Morrowind, but I will one day. Morrowind is currently on Game Pass Ultimate for Xbox. I downloaded it on my Xbox One last night while I slept, looking forward to starting it up when I get off work. Gauntlet Legends for the N64. It's the only game of its kind that our older sister played with my brother and me. We went through all of it and beat Scorn together, and we've never played like that again. It was glorious and precious. She'll still play the original Super Smash Bros. With us, too, but that first game was magical. Sustenance. Down the hatch. Food is good. No joke. I still yell food is good when I'm hungry and find something tasty to snack on in the pantry. The weird things that stick with you. Yellow Wizard has gained a level. Yellow Wizard is now a level 99 legend. Yellow Wizard is about to die. Red Warrior needs food badly. Happy Cake Day. Green Archer has found the Thunder Hammer. Man, that game was a legend. No pun intended. That desecrated chapel music is amazing. I wish they still made multiplayer games as they did on the N64. It's just not the same when all your buddies are on their own consoles at their own place. Totally. I get why it went that way in a business sense, but there's something amazing about those games and the excitement of playing together. That game was amazing as a child. Me, my brother, and old best friend played it constantly. We'd rent it from Hollywood Video, play the crap out of it, then return it and repeat. My parents were very restrictive on TV usage my entire young life, allowing 1 hour each day, with some exceptions for educational programs. Video game time came out of that 1 hour, so I could never really play through lengthy or involved games. Then I got chicken pox and was quarantined to my room for the greatest week of my young life. They set up the NES and a small TV. I played through Super Mario Bros. 1 to 3, Conflict, Contra, Bubble Bobble, Double Dragon 2 and made a doomed run at Battletoads. Anytime I see these games I am brought back to that time. Separately, my dad ran the school planetarium. When I was in high school, he had to spend some time on the weekends working on things. At times, I could come and fiddle around when he was working. One weekend he allowed me to bring 3 friends and we hooked the N64 up to the planetarium projector on the dome. We played Star Fox 64 with the stars on, GoldenEye 007, and Mario Kart. A high water mark of the times. I honestly don't know which is cooler, that you played video games in a planetarium, or the fact that your school had a planetarium. One of those rural schools that got space race money in the 50s and 60s to build them. Sadly, the conservative school board decided in the late 2000s, after spending $1 million to renovate and update it, that they didn't think it had any value. So they tore it apart and stuck it in a trailer, and my dad retired. Can't have kids growing up with those pesky dreams and aspirations that might make them think they have a future. Sounds like American highs and lows right there. Zelda, Link to the Past. My mother died of lung cancer in 1998. We played a few games together, but LTTP always stands out. If she couldn't beat a boss, she would hand me the controller and say, "Kill this for me." I was mind-blown by how good LTTP was when I recently played it, even though it was decades older than current games today. Holds up so well even without the nostalgia factor. Absolutely. If you like that and haven't played A Link Between Worlds, then I'd highly recommend it. It's the spiritual successor and I think it lived up to that description. I love Link to the Past, easily my favorite Zelda game. To the Moon. It's a retro-looking RPG on PC that story revolves around loss. There is no combat, strictly story, but it's such a well-done story. When I played it, I was pretty depressed, having lost quite a few people in my life: cancer, dementia, overdose, heart attack, and it honestly helped me cope a great deal. To the Moon for me as well. I played that game when I was dealing with a lot of crap and I feel like it was the perfect game for the time I was having. It's so simple but it says a lot. The sequel Finding Paradise I initially didn't like as much, but there's something about that one that makes me think about it a lot. The other one for me is this game said a lot of things that I needed to hear at the time, and I think it's the most important game I've played in terms of how it affected me. Highly recommend. I had never heard of this game before, but thanks to you I read the synopsis and what an incredible story. I'm not much of a gamer anymore, but that was so compelling to read I just wanted to thank you for sharing it. It's only about 3 hours long and it hit me in a way that I've never felt before. The story is really good and I'd suggested going through it if you have the chance. But there is combat. You fight a squirrel in the first act and an army of zombie plants in one of the final portions. They are both jokes, and you can't really lose either fight. Funnily enough, I just started thinking about this game this morning out of the blue driving home from work, and tried to remember the plot. Seconds later, I had to stop thinking about it because the tears were making it hard to see. Really amazing little game. Stardew Valley. After my husband died suddenly and unexpectedly, my son and his wife bought a Switch in Stardew Valley for me. He moved the bedroom TV into the living room next to the TV there and would come over once a week on his day off and taught me to play. I was so bad at it but would play for hours through many winter sleepless nights. He's tried to introduce me to other games, but I haven't been able to get into them. It really took me out of my shock and grief. User Concernadate created this game and is a Redditor as well. Reddit link. I'm more into Harvest Moon, but Stardew Valley is also a beautiful game. Those games are my go-to for escaping life and just relaxing. I can forget about my problems for just a little while and spend some time tending to crops, taking care of animals, and talking to the townspeople. Cries in Animal Crossing. Cries in Doom. Rips and tears. Stardew is therapeutic until you go to the Skull Cavern, Smiley face. Ah. So sorry for your loss. My father-in-law passed unexpectedly a year ago, and my husband and I got through the days of uncertainty playing Stardew. My dad played Lego Star Wars with me, and I always remember that as the first video game I played and him teaching me. I miss you, Dad. Such a good game. I used to play with my brother back on the PS2 when I was younger. Glad you've got those memories with your dad. Dark Souls. My wife left me in 2012 and I hadn't seen my 3-year-old daughter in a month while we figures out custody, and the ex was keeping me from her. I was mainly working, not sleeping, going to the gym, and drinking. My friends all gave me the "gee, that's too bad," but I got my own problems speech. I hadn't gamed in years and my brother gave me his 360 till I got one of my own. I bought Dark Souls for $5 from a GameStop, no box and special sale at the time. I also worked in an office that was closing, but I was essential. So I spent most my time alone as everyone around me quit or was fired. I started playing Dark Souls every day after work and was constantly looking up lore and stuff about the game as it was kicking my ass. It totally consumed my attention after hours, and it made me cut back on my drinking so I could beat tougher bosses like Sif and later Artorias the Abyss Walker. I credit Dark Souls distracting me from the crushing loneliness of my life at the time. My routine was leave work, hit the gym for an hour, eat healthy, play Dark Souls, call my kid for 15 minutes every night, and then play Dark Souls till I had to sleep. I think I only slept 3 hours a night for the first few months. Thanks Dark Souls. My early 20s weren't fun times. I tried killing myself, and then spent a lot of time in and out of psychiatric hospitals while on heavy doses of lithium and a variety of antipsychotics. The treatment I was on gave me pretty severe memory loss, and made concentration nearly impossible. I didn't enjoy music, games, driving, food, but nothing really hurt. I was very hollow. Finally, I changed psychiatrists and she had me drop a bunch of prescriptions. Suddenly I started enjoying things again. Dark Souls was the first game I played coming out of that chasm and I was still pretty delusional. I thought the chosen undead's quest to break the curse was my own quest to break my own curse. I had a very good psychiatrist at that time and there was a lot of healing going on, but Dark Souls came to me during a difficult and transformative period of my life and I'm very thankful it did. It helped me get better, in its own way. I hope someday I can thank the people behind that game. It's crazy how the game doesn't pull you from depression. It creates an environment where struggle is relatable, objectives are hard to see, and progress is painful. At some point, you realize how closely it mirrors real life and you might find the same enjoyment from life as you got in this game. Masterpiece. Don't give up, skeleton. Don't you dare go hollow? Finally, someone else answered Dark Souls. Spent more time than I'd like to admit scrolling through this thread looking for someone to mention Dark Souls because I'm too much of a lurker to make a contribution myself. Praise the sun. I played Dark Souls 3 in college and it significantly helped me cope with depression and feeling like a failure. It gave me a challenge that with a lot of effort I overcame. Just being able to look at something in my life and say, hey, that was hard but I did it, helped me feel like I could do something right, even if it was just beating a hard video game. Runescape, it gave me simple menial tasks and congratulated me for small things while I struggled through depression. It meant a lot to me to even just have some reason to get out of bed to talk to my clanmates too. Runescape just hit different in the 8th grade. Old school Runescape exists but it's not the same because we've changed, as we've gotten older. In the past, it was about just having fun and the joy of exploration and discovery. Now, adult me, and just about everyone else I know, plays it in a much more goal-oriented way where you're just trying to complete goals as quickly as possible. Getting money quickly, getting levels quickly, sprinting through quests, etc. Instead of fun and discovery, it's chores. Ain't that right? I wish I still had the same sense of wonder I did then. I used to examine everything just because I wanted to absorb everything about the world. Now I can't touch it unless there's a league going on giving the ridiculous XP bonuses. Runescape just has a special place in my heart of growing up with the internet. I think I experienced so much random stuff for the first time in that game, from scammers to fake internet GFS, noob and all the different spellings of it, and I just wasted so much time on that game farming whatever at certain times. I remember being the highest dub C in fishing of all my friends and they thought I was insane. One of my friends taught me how to make a ton of money by just buying and selling stuff. It was crazy how much patience all that stuff required and I can't imagine myself doing it now. Same here. I only play Runescape when I'm a certain level of depressed. That might explain the on-again off-again addictive behavior I've had with RS over the past 20 years. I either play it almost all of my free time or none of the time. Nobody stops playing RuneScape. They just take long breaks. Same, I played it so much when all my friends left for university and I decided to get a job instead. I failed to get anything and went to university the year after, but during that year RuneScape felt like my only human contact sometimes. Knights of the Old Republic, because when it came out, I was going through a bad breakup and was not dealing with it well. Playing through the game was a nice distraction from what was going on that it helped get me through those first few months. That is my favorite game of all time. I wasn't alive when it came out, but through my dad, I love old games like Dune, Ogre Battle, KOTOR, Baldur's Gate, etc. I'm 15 and kind of sad, almost, nobody plays these anymore. I'll always enjoy them. KOTOR is my favorite too. Whenever there's an Ask Reddit about favorite video games, I scroll until I find KOTOR. Skyrim. Like many others on here, it found me at a time where I didn't know what to do with myself. I'd watched a lot of Skyrim Let's Plays on YouTube when I was younger, shout out to Steven Plays, but never got the chance to actually get into it. Depression was hitting me really hard at the time, and when I found it on sale on Steam, I bought it on a whim. 2 days later, booted it up and was instantly hooked. I remember waking up at 8, playing until 12, eating my first meal of the day in a 10-minute period of stuffing bread into my mouth, then getting back at it until 7 in the evening. I'd get some real food, by real food I mean cooked rice and tea, and going right back to completing Dark Brotherhood quests. 2 was my bedtime. This cycle repeated itself for about a month and a half until I finally mellowed out. The thing was, it worked. My mind was too enamored by the little things in it to care about anything else in the real world. Every waking moment was spent on imagining how to get better armor, complete another quest, etc. So, even if it isn't objectively the best game I ever played, I'll always remember the fond times I had with it. Hail Sithies. Same man. But the fact you were only 8 makes me feel old lol. Woke up at 8. Minecraft. When I was in high school, that was the go-to game for my friends and I, and after my best friend graduated and moved away, it was the main way we stayed in contact. The first time I played it after he passed away, I legitimately cried. Sorry for the loss. Wow, I had to scroll far to find anything about Minecraft. I thought it would be here a lot more. I knew it touched someone more than it touched me. Sorry for your loss. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.